Talking with the experts.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts, where we believe that success is a journey, and every journey is easier with help from friends. That's why we bring you top-notch experts and real business heroes eager to share their lessons from the road to success. We delve into new topics each week: effective marketing strategies, innovative problem-solving, financial planning, and team building. We tackle everything you need to know to grow your business and keep it thriving. Whether you dream about launching your first startup or are a business veteran looking to shake things up, we've got you covered. With each episode, you'll gain knowledge, boost your confidence, and be inspired to take action. So, grab a coffee, make yourself comfortable, and join our exciting journey. You're not alone in this. We're here, guiding you, cheering for you, and celebrating each milestone. Let's turn your business dreams into reality, starting today. Here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Talking with the experts.
Risa Haasbroek shares with us how we can streamline our business to spend less time there and make more money in episode 494.
So if you are trying to explain to Mr. Spark, how does it feel to feel guilt? Oh, it's a sensation in my body now. To me, it's definitely I can feel my cheeks getting red, and most of my negative feelings are in my gut. It's like in my stomach, the nausea. It's like, oh, I'm going to hurt someone. That's guilt. If you can just sit with that feeling for a minute, and I know it's hard. This first time I tell people this, that, no, what are you talking about, Risa? It's not possible. That feeling itself, the sensation you created in your body with your own thought, is not really harmful. It can be uncomfortable, but you can sit with that. You can allow that feeling to pass through your body. Just invite it in. Of course I'm feeling.
Talking with the experts.
Do you love your podcast and dislike the editing and uploading to the various platforms? Would you like to spend this time with your family and friends or work on your business? Podcast editing doesn't have to be a chore. Talking with the Experts partners with podcasters who need help with audio and content editing. If you'd like to know more, contact me, Rose Davidson, using the link showing now, or send me a private message. Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is all about business by business owners for business owners. You can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And do you have long, drawn-out processes? Do you spend a lot of hours in your business and you're not making a lot of money? Well, my next guest, Risa Haasbroek, is going to be discussing with us how we can streamline our businesses and spend less time and make more money. Now, Risa used to spend 60 hours a week in her first online business, but then she brought it down to 6 hours a week, but she doubled her income. We're going to find out how she did that. And Risa, she's from South Africa, and she and her family have been living in the US for about 7 years now. She is a passionate life coach for solopreneurs. She helps them to find success in their business by addressing areas of mindset and motivation. They are then able to let go of the things that are not serving them, which, there are a lot of things for business owners that we could all let go of. And it allows them to focus on those key things that will move the needle in their business and help them to earn more money. Risa, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's a privilege to me. Thank you.
Can you please explain how you became a life coach for solopreneurs? What led to that?
So like you said in the introduction, we moved to the US, my family and I. Excuse me just for a minute. We moved to the US in, when was it, 2015. And at that time, we had 2 teenagers, and they came along. And I soon realized with the exchange rate between the 2 countries, we will not be able to retire in the US. And I could see my kids making a living in, building a life in America. And we would have to go back at some point, living so far apart from them. And then I told my husband, I'm doing something about this. I'm going to start an online business. And I started with what I knew. I was a homeschooling mom. So I started online courses for homeschoolers in South Africa because I had a network and I had the knowledge how to the knowledge how to do that. But I started making money right from the get-go. But when I think of the hours I put in and, the kind of money I was making, it didn't really make a lot of sense. I was ready to give up. And then one day I listened to a podcast interview with a life coach, and she was explaining how she was only working 3 days a week and making millions. And then it dawned upon me, I'm not doing this right. There's a better way to do this. I can figure this out. And I started following this woman and applying some of the principles that she taught. And eventually I got certified through her life coach school, because I just fell in love with the mindset stuff and applying it in my business. And like you said, bringing it down from 60 hours to 6 hours. And by then I was like totally in love with life coaching. And now I just want to share it with everyone because it's so powerful.
What a wonderful journey. And tell me, how did you bring it down from 60 hours to 6? That is a huge change.
Okay, it took a while, right? Just to be honest with your listeners, it's not going to happen overnight. But the big shifts were the mindset shifts. And if I can summarize it in this way, it's the relationship I had with the word no. So, it's like in two senses. It's the ability to take no's and the ability to give no's. Because as a business owner, you are going to be on the receiving end of a lot of rejection, of people telling you no. More people will tell you no than they will tell you yes. And the ability to build some resilience around rejection and that inward resilience, to not fall apart every time it happens, because that's what happened to me at the beginning. I would try something and people, no, they don't like it. And then I would waste so much mental and emotional energy just to get back on track again. So that was definitely a part of it, just learning that resiliency to have my strength inside of me. But the other part, definitely, and I see that happening with business owners all the time, is trying to be everything for everyone. So you also want to learn to say no and not, just sometimes setting boundaries with your clients even, but also saying no to the shiny object syndrome. It's like the next wonderful opportunity and grabbing onto that. And the other big no, I would say, was saying no to busy work. And, because it feels good and you get all these nice squirts of dopamine when you are so busy. So allowing yourself to take time off to plan and strategize and just think about what you are doing in your business. That, I would say, is a broad summary of how I was, in the end, I was able to do that.
Well, that's wonderful. But, some of us don't want to let go of certain things and don't know how to say no. How do we learn to say no?
Okay, now it's like I have to get deep into the weeds with the theory and what is it that makes life coaching so nice. It's, if you understand where emotions come from, you have to become friends with your feelings. So if you understand how they are created. And the only way an emotion comes into light, into the world, is through your own thought processes. So things are happening in the world, and especially with humans, light waves and sound waves reach your ears and your eyes. But those are just data. It's meaningless. And only when you attach a story and interpretation to that data do you create meaning with it. And once you've done that, now you've created the feeling. And it's the feeling that you don't want to be rejected, the feeling that you don't want to, you don't want to hurt other people's feelings. That's what so makes it so hard of saying no. But when you realize they create their own feelings with their own mind, I am not responsible for other people's feelings. I am responsible for my own. Now, does that mean that you can be just like this mean person to everybody? No, that's very unwise. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just like, it's that release that if I say it in a nice way and they still feel bad about my no, that is on them. Does that make sense? It's like if I explain it in that way, and this is a skill set. Once again, you have to learn to engage with your emotions in this new way.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, a lot of us, when we say no, feel total guilt because we think, oh, we've let that other person down. They're not going to like us. They're not going to come back. All of those things. How do we overcome those feelings of guilt? Because, sometimes they're ingrained in us so deeply. How do we get over that?
Okay, can I tell you about the 4 countries that that we can live in mentally and emotionally?
Absolutely.
There's the country. No, I'm so sorry. I had a cold earlier and I'm still struggling with that. Okay, so there's a country where you are doing things that are bad for you and bad for other people. And I would call that the country of dysfunctionality. And people like that, they are doing very dumb things, and it's not really helping them, and it's definitely not helping the people around them. I think you get the picture. Dysfunctional, that's the word. Then you get the country where you do things that are bad for other people but good for you. If you want to live there, you can expect to spend a lot of time with criminals. It's like psychopaths, sociopaths, and just the garden variety criminal. It's like people that are out, they just want what's good for them, but they don't consider other people. And then there's the land of codependency, where the guilt is coming in, where you are constantly doing things that are good for other people, but not good for you. And many of us, especially women, we are stuck in that country. I know. Ask me how I know, because I've lived there. But then the country where we all want to immigrate to is the country of wisdom. And that is where you are doing things that are good for other people and good for yourself. And the reason why I call it the country of wisdom is because you have to take the long view. If you it's like telling your child no in the shop when they have a tantrum. At the moment, it doesn't feel good to them. But if you take the long view, it's better for the child that they don't have the candy right there and then, because it's going to ruin their appetite. And it's just not, it's good for them to wait for things. So that kind of mindset. How can I act more and more in my business, in my life, so that it benefits me, but it's also to the advantageous to the other person? But it's hard. I mean, I'm not saying that it's easy, but that's where you want to be. If you can do that.
Yep. Sorry. How do we develop that muscle that so we get into the land of wisdom?
Okay, so it's like the first thing is really to connect to the feelings. When you feel guilty, I want to kind of invite you to become the observer of yourself. If you were to describe that feeling to someone from Mars, who's that guy with the funny ears, Mr. Spock, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
He had no idea what a feeling was.
Yeah, it hits him.
So if you are like trying to explain to Mr. Spock, how does it feel to feel guilt? Oh, it's a sensation in my body. Now, to me, it's definitely I can feel my cheeks getting red. And most of my negative feelings are in my gut. It's like in my stomach, the nausea. It's like, oh, I'm going to hurt someone. That's guilt. If you can just sit with that feeling for a minute. And I know it's hard. This first time I tell people this, that, no, what are you talking about, Risa? It's not possible. That feeling itself, the sensation you created in your body with your own thought, is not really harmful. It can be uncomfortable, but you can sit with that. You can allow that feeling to pass through your body. Just invite it in. Of course, I'm feeling guilt because I'm not used to telling people no. This is uncomfortable. Let me just sit with the feeling of guilt. Because you can't really make good decisions when you're overwhelmed by feelings. Your amygdala, those little almond-shaped thingies in your brain, they are, fight, flight, freeze. You can't think properly. So you want to bring the intensity of the emotion down. And it's so funny, just naming the feeling, immediately it's like a gearbox. You get access to your prefrontal again. Because your amygdala, that emotional part of your brain, it only thinks in pictures and emotions. But your prefrontal has access to language. So once you name the feeling, you are sort of master of it. And now you can ask yourself, but is this guilt? Is it serving me? Am I willing to feel it for, saying no to your child in the shop, for instance, for because it's to the benefit of this person in the long run? Am I willing to just sit with this little bit of discomfort because I can see I want to live. I want to move to the land of wisdom.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. Thank you for sharing that. But, how can we work less and make more money? How does that work?
Can you imagine if you were able to do it faster and get access to your prefrontal more faster? It's like when you are fighting your feelings all the time, it's like pushing a beach ball underwater. It drains and saps your energy. But when your heart is unburdened and your mind is clear, you are working so much faster. You're not stressing all the time. You can make decisions faster. You can tell people no. Yes, I'm going to feel the guilt. Okay, here it comes. And no, this is not. For instance, let me give you an example. I used to, when I started out, people would send me emails and they would tell me their whole story. And I would respond to those emails, each and every one, personally. It took hours until I calmed myself, because I wanted to be everything for everyone. I wanted people to like me. I thought that I had to be popular to be a good businesswoman. But once I calmed myself down and I realized these new ways, but is this the best time is this the best use of my time? And then, but it was the same kind of questions. The emails, they asked me the same thing over and over again. So, if I write one blog post and I explain all the things, I can just refer people to that blog post. So it's allowing yourself that kind of time off to think about things and just having access to your prefrontal, your thinking brain. Am I doing this in the best way? That's a good example, but can you imagine how many hours became available to me once I realized this?
Yeah, great idea. I think if we change the way we did things, and the email thing is a great example. Don't answer each one individually. Write the blog post, or write the web page, or write an ebook, or an information sheet, or something like that, and refer them onto that. What a great idea!
Yeah, it's so much more time efficient, so that's it. And I had this one woman, she reached out to me and she didn't like the way that I struck. It was the course that I had. It was a language course teaching kids how to find parts of speech in a story. And she didn't like the story. And she said, I want you to rewrite the story just for me and take out all the elements that I don't like. And I think it was so preposterous that was a good wake-up call. Like, oh, but I'm doing that in a lesser degree to some of the other people. I'm trying to cater to each and every demand. But this woman's, it was so outrageous that I'm not going to rewrite the whole story, love. What are you talking about?
Strange
And then
woman.
I realized, okay, let me ask that question more often. Should I give in to this request? Is it a reasonable one? Did I create the value that I had for? Can they continue on their own? So it's almost asking those good questions am I serving them and am I serving myself? And that's not selfish, it's wise.
Mm. Absolutely, yes. I mean, and what a strange request. I mean, this is like me going to the shoe shop and saying, well, I don't like these shoes. Can you change the whole range?
But that was actually, it served me well that she asked me that, because it was so far-fetched that I could see it. Oh, no, I'm not going to do this. But I'm doing it, like I said, to a lesser extent to other people. And then I became aware of that pattern, that even that she had the, I wouldn't say audacity, but she had, she felt free to ask me that, because that's the way I came across. Very accessible. People can ask me anything. Did I need better boundaries?
Boundaries, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, sounded like it. My goodness, that would have been terrible. So, you've got a service, Decisions and Questions. It's a PDF that people can download. Where can they find that?
It's like how to make decisions. 21 ways. People sometimes think I just need more time to make a good decision. But I'm saying, no, you need better information. So ask yourself questions that will elicit that information so that you can make the good decisions. So if they go to my website, Risa for Coaching, and it's the number 4, risaforcoaching.com, and it's right there on the website, and I'm not even asking for an email. They can just download it. I want to make it easier for business owners to make those decisions.
Wow, that's very generous.
Yeah, it's like, let's make the more successful business people we can have in the world at this point, the better for everyone. Once again, I want to live in the land of wisdom.
That's it. Yes. And, considering the global economic conditions at the moment, I think having better business owners and more enlightened and more learned business owners, I think it's going to make for a better world, because
and less exhausted ones that have better access to their prefrontal, because they have the emotions. They have the emotions under, they can take care of that. Yes, for sure. Let's do this.
Absolutely. Risa, if you were to give some words of wisdom to anybody, doesn't matter what it is, what would you share?
Something I thought about this morning, and that is, you are not as good as you think you are, but you're also not as bad as you think you are. And that's a nice place to live, to camp out in that country, that no man's land there, where you have that beginner's mindset. I can always improve, but you're also not beating yourself down. You have accomplished a lot. There's a lot that you can use as a springboard. You've done some great things, but you can always improve. So that's a nice little detached way to think about your business and give yourself that inspiration. Keep learning, but I've also just look at all the things I've already done.
Yeah. And we don't often look back and think, geez, I've achieved a lot. And someone posted that very same question, what have you achieved? Look back on what you've achieved. And I answered the question, and I was quite amazed at the things I had achieved, in the last 4 years, compared to, the previous 4 years. And I'm thinking, wow, I have done a lot. And, why am I beating myself up all the time? Because really, you've done a good job.
Yes.
But, there's always scope for more learning. So,
exactly.
I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning new things, especially things about technology. I'm a technology nut.
You like to geek out on that. Okay.
I do. Yeah. I love everything new that comes out, like ChatGPT.
Yes. Okay. So
jumped on that straight away, and it took me a little while to work out how it works. Now I'm trying to master many journey to get the images, and that's a little bit more challenging, but I'm getting there. But it's anything that's new. I like to be an early adopter of anything new that comes out on the market. So
yeah. But you're probably very good at that, because you've done it. You're interested in that, and you've done it so many times at figuring things out. How does it work?
Yeah, no, I love it. I've always been, since computers first came out in the 80s, desktop computers. and we had windows, came out. I was like in like Flynn. Honestly, I couldn't get enough.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And teaching other people how to do that too, it's like
Yeah.
passing on the knowledge. Yes.
Yeah, no, and it's good. I mean, where a lot of business owners, I think, make the mistake, they keep all their knowledge to themselves and they don't share. And honestly, sharing is wonderful. And, and oftentimes it's great to employ people who have more knowledge than you, because they can teach you stuff, and then they can take tasks off you that, you don't like doing, or you have no time for, or whatever. So it's, people have to change the way they do their hiring and firing. And if they're a solopreneur, honestly, get a team around you when money allows, because, don't go and do it if you're not earning the dollars. It's a bit silly, but, find people that are more adept at doing a skill that you aren't that great at.
It's this beautiful, like, beneficial community of, it's like we are learning from each other, but also supporting one another and building each other up. I like that.
Yeah, and that's what life's about, is sharing. If we shared things more, I think the world would be a lot nicer.
But share in a way that's beneficial to you too.
Absolutely. No, yeah. And you've got to learn to say no and set those boundaries.
Yes, totally.
Risa, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much for joining me on this Talking with the Experts episode. I look forward to talking to you again really soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time. Talking with the Experts.